let her know.
Okay. Thanks, Gail, for doing that. And thanks for the introduction. I have been doing this delegate orientation several times and decided that maybe this time I should stick to the outline. Usually when we do it in person, there's a lot of ad-libbing going on. But this time I decided to stick to the outline. And this outline was given to me a while back, maybe 10 years ago, from David Avis. And so I just kind of modified it. He was the official delegate orientation person until I took over. And I've been a delegate almost every year for the last, I want to say, since I've been a member of the UCC. So it's probably 15 years I've been a delegate. And you get to become sort of like a groupie thing. You always want to go because you enjoy it. So it's really a lot of fun. And it's really nice to be part of a big church family and to see everybody. It's kind of like a family reunion. So that's the fun part about annual meeting. And this time it's going to be so different with us all being on Zoom. And so it's just a new experience. So a new experience for me, new experience for you. And for your first time delegates, a really new experience. So the delegates make up the assembly of the meeting. And the assembly are delegates, and there's clergy, and there's the board of directors or the officers and staff. And people have voting rights, and each church can send up to 4 delegates. And so some of you that are coming as guests, I mean, if your church doesn't have 4 people, you can become a delegate. And the delegate is important because delegates get to vote. You're a guest, you don't get to vote. And under the authority, just like in Senate, we speak to the churches and not for the churches, meaning that you're not like a representative. You don't vote as representing a group of people. You vote your own conscience. It's your thing. And you just happen to be coming from that church. So you don't say, well, the majority of my church thinks this, so I'll vote this way. You're going to vote the way you think. And the duties of the assembly include approving the budget, electing the officers, we call the conference minister, and in between times, in between annual meetings, the board of directors acts as the assembly. So the board of directors meet monthly or every other month. And so when we're not having an annual meeting, they meet and they do all of this other this society kind of thing. Okay. So as a delegate, you're authorized by the bylaws. And the CC has bylaws, and I believe they're on our website, but I think Gail is going to send out tomorrow to all the delegates the bylaws and also what is called the standing rules. And the standing rules are the rules that we the rules that govern the assembly and how we act during the assembly and what happens to the assembly. And those are the standing rules.
Hey, Corliss,
Yeah.
Nan has made a suggestion that I had forgotten about. If you turn off your video, your audio might get better.
Oh, okay.
Just, since we're on
Let's
share
see.
screen anyway, you know.
Okay.
Oh, better.
Is it better?
Thank you, Nan. Excellent.
Oh, thanks. I missed that. I saw that she sent
Oh.
a message, but I was reading something else.
Actually, it is
Okay.
a little clunky. We'll see. Just keep going.
All right. So, what I said before, you act as senators and not representatives. And the number of delegates, and I just said that you get 4 delegates and a youth delegate. And so those of you like from Bridgeport, if you have 4 delegates and then some of you are guests, I mean, make sure you have 4 delegates. Okay. And when you speak, and I guess, I don't know how we're going to do this on Zoom, but when you speak during the assembly, you always identify yourself by the name of your church and what category you in, such as you are a delegate or your staff or you're on the board of directors. Okay, so let's move on to the section on special attention items and the standing rules. And that's the first thing that usually comes up during annual meeting. The meeting part is the business part of the assembly. And then there's all these other stuff that go on. But it's the business part that you are a delegate to. And so that's where we do all the voting and electing of officers and stuff. So the standing rules are how we act during the business part of the meeting. And you will be sent those, or they'll be in the drive, Google Drive, and we usually vote to adopt. We tried the earbuds, sorry. So, and normally we have a parliamentarian, and I'm sure we'll have a parliamentarian who makes sure that we are following Robert's Rules of Order. Apparently there are no resolutions coming up, but we will be adopting the budget. And so the first part of the meeting, there will be budget introductions such as the conference budget and also Camp Adams budget. And the treasurers of those organizations will present. The treasurer on the board of directors will present the conference budget, and Natalie usually presents the Camp Adams budget. And then later on in the meeting, we will vote on those. So they're presented, and then we don't vote on them right away because in case you have questions, and we will vote on them later. Okay. Usually we have hearings, and this year it's kind of unusual. We usually have a break between the meetings so that you can talk about some of the items we're going to vote on, and then we vote on them. So I'm not sure this year. I think we're just going to have some open discussion on the items. Mm-hmm. There will also be election of officers, and you will hear a report from the nominations committee of the slate of people that are being nominated to different committees, and the election will take place again later in the meeting. So at that time, you can nominate people, but if you do nominate anyone to fill a position, they have to know that you're nominating them, and they have already okayed. I think I just heard that there are 2 open positions on the committees on the
yeah, that was the case committee the other day, so we'll find out. Okay. We don't yet have the slate. It'll be uploaded once we have it.
All right, good. And then we'll hear reports from all of these committees. But the main report that we will hear is Tyler will present a conference minister report on the state of the conference. And I don't know where I got this 2 o'clock time, but I think that's when it's going to be. I read it somewhere. On Saturday, next Saturday.
Might be different.
And then, like I said, they will might be different. Okay.
Yeah, we're still finalizing times.
Okay. So that's what happens during the meeting. You listen. If you have something to say, you can say it. Gail's going to tell us how we're going to vote. And then you vote. And delegates get to vote. So, Gail, you want to tell us how they're thinking about voting.
Yes, let's see. Is there any questions before I take down the share screen? Or does it all seem pretty straightforward?
I just have a question. Why are there no resolutions?
There are no resolutions because none came from the churches.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was people have been very busy
Okay.
and just, just kind of getting back into a different rhythm. And so,
It was probably hard to do resolutions when your church wasn't meeting
Yeah.
or you regular about when they were meeting. So.
Okay.
oh, here's Mark.
There's no, you can't have a resolution from the floor.
No, it has to be presented ahead of time, I think.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, if there were resolutions, Corliss, right, then you could have discussion and propose amendments, but we just don't have any this
Right.
year.
We don't have it.
Thank you.
So, but I know that there is going to be a report on some of the resolutions that we passed. Last year we passed the resolution, and I think there's going to be a report on whether we are carrying out what we resolved to do.
Ah, okay, I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you say Tyler came on?
No, March did.
Oh, Marge. Oh, good. She got on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have any questions about the meeting part? No?
Okay, I can
Okay. So,
tell you. Oh, go ahead.
you go ahead and tell about voting, and then I'll tell about the rest of the stuff during annual gathering.
Oh, okay, perfect. Normally, when we're on site together, we're all sitting in the same room, and people go through the process, and maybe Corliss can go back and share that. I mean, it's pretty much a Robert's Rule way of processing. But we've normally called for a vote and that sort of thing, and we could count it or do it by voice vote. Because we're virtual, we are going to, right now we're in a Zoom meeting. There's also another platform called the Zoom webinar, and you may or may not have been part of a webinar even knowing whether you're in a Zoom webinar or not. But you can do polling. I mean, we could do polling in this meeting too. And so the way the voting is going to happen is that there will be a poll, save for someone will make a motion to approve the budget, as an example. Someone will second it, and then we vote. The way we're going to vote is a poll will show up on your screen, and you respond, yay, nay, or yes, no, or whatever, and that gets tabulated and rather quite quickly, and then we will know the results of that. So let's see, I should have had one prepared here, but it's very simple. It'll just show up on the screen and you'll get to click on something. So that will happen for each and everything that we vote on. And, it's pretty simple that way. It's not going to be a difficult thing. The main thing is that you're going to want to make sure that you can hear well and know what you're voting on. And when it's time to vote on something, that little window with the question about do you approve or disapprove of the motion will just appear. There's not much more to explain about it. It's that simple. And we, expect that it's all going to work. Now, if you happen to be on the phone, which we're hoping most delegates will be visible, we're still working on another way to capture your vote. Sometimes people have to join by phone because their signal isn't very strong. So we're hoping not, but we will have a fallback for that. Have any of you participated in a Zoom poll before? Okay. Yeah, it's pretty simple, isn't it, Nan? Yeah.
Very simple. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with yes, no. You know, that you don't have to choose between 5. You just say yes, no.
And the things we're going to vote on are not contentious. So I think it's going to be really simple since we don't have any resolutions. It's just normal business, you know, matter of fact, the budget, election of officers, that kind of thing. Okay, is that, so what happens when you go back home after the meeting is you just report back of what happened. And usually the main report is, you know, we had any resolutions that you can tell how the vote went. But one of the other things that's really important is that we try to get more youth here. So try to recruit a youth to come or sign up, and this would be a good year because they're so used to the computer that they can participate without having to leave home and travel. I want to say something about what happens in the rest of the gathering besides the business meeting. We're going to have a lot of activities such as a World Cafe. We're going to have worship. We have a keynoter. Those are outside of the business meeting, and you know, it's great to participate in everything. Just participate. There's going to be a what we call knowledge camp, and you get to propose what you want to learn in those things. And so if you're new and you want to learn something about our conference or some subject, you can propose that, and they're going to run it kind of, I think, Gail, are we going to do like breakout rooms or however they're going to do that?
Yeah, the way we're talking about it is like on Friday night, we're going to do a form of passing the peace, which means we'll just randomly break up everybody that's there Friday into breakout rooms. And we may do that like 3 times, just quick. You know, you're in a room with 5 people or whatever, you introduce yourself, do a virtual hug, whatever, and then come back and get into another and into another. So that's one of the ways we'll use breakout rooms. On Monday evening, we have 8 knowledge camps that all look really interesting. And so we're going to be recording all 8 of them because one of the main concerns always is, well, I wanted to go to this one and that one. And in this case, they're all going to be at the same time. But those will all be separate Zoom meetings, in which case you may or may not use breakouts, depending on whether the presenter wants to do that as part of their knowledge camp. And knowledge camps are basically workshops, you know, with presentation.